I gotta say, I kind of like how when I'm like, I'll confess, I'm a weird cookie. I talk to myself. I bet some people do it. And when I do, I just have like a brain blast when I'm like halfway to like, mumbling to myself of a particular game or thing in my life. And going off of a video that I did, I don't know when this one will be posted. There's a fucking backlog bigger than my goddamn Steam library. But I was thinking to myself, Deathloop. There's something missing about it because I was giving myself the analogy of how we have like expectations here. Like if there's a game from like a suit, like there's a game coming from a studio, it's like you have a certain expectation. Like with C Project Red, they had The Witcher. It was a great RPG, lots of choices, open world, yada yada yada. So that's the expectation we had with Cyberpunk. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. We got Cyber Glitch 77 or Cyber Glitch 76, Cyberpunk 76, fucking Cyber Fail 77, etc. It was fucking like the story probably holds up. I don't know much about it, but I mean, in terms of like the features that were cut, the buggy mess, shitty cop AI, and all that stuff, it was a failure. In the case of Deathloop, what I thought to myself was, okay, if CD Projekt Red has RPG, great story, choices, boom, arcane, immersive sim, open-ended objectives, choose how you want to complete it, great story. We got a decent story from Deathloop. I'm trying to go from verbatim what the fuck I was talking about here before I started recording. But we got a decent story, but the gameplay wasn't immersive sim. But beyond that, it felt like there was something missing. Like what I was saying to myself was it was kind of similar to I was watching a movie with a friend. We were watching the Snyder cut of the Justice League, and he gave like the thing of okay, a fucking 3 hour great film like the Snyder cut only felt like an hour, but the Whedon version, which was only 2 hours as opposed to the three from the Snyder cut, it felt like a 10-hour film. It felt like dog shit. It was a boring slog. In the case of Deathloop, I only have 30 hours in it until the Golden Loop update comes out. But I only have 30 hours in it, and it felt like a good 5 to 6 of those hours were spent grinding up all the trinkets and the weapons and trying to build up my cult before I actually start going through the various story beats to create the perfect loop. So that means I only got like maybe 23, 24 actual hours of like maybe story progression, maybe even less. Because I also did some Juliana invasions, so I think that's like about an hour. So who knows how long the real story of Deathloop is? Maybe like 10, 15 hours, maybe, depending on like trial and error and how good you are in certain segments. Then you compare that to something like Prey. And I think what it is, it's the substance of the story. With Deathloop, it feels like there's something missing, or it feels really not condensed. It feels like it's like the shallow pool analogy that I hear from some people on YouTube, where it's a very wide pool, but it's only like a couple feet like deep. That's what it feels like with Deathloop, because it's like when I played Prey, there was like a very rich world there. Like you're on a fucking space station, but you can tell from like the opening segments on like the Earth section, the lore behind the neuromods and like backstories with the characters through like the data pads or audio logs and like the various like side quests in the game. There was a lot of lore building and Prey that actually like made like encouraged me to explore every inch of the map, read all these fucking data pads about like the various companies or the weapons or the Typhon, like all that shit. Like I was actually engrossed into the world of Prey. And when I tried doing that for Deathloop, it was kind of like it's the equivalent of like reading like an English like a very like big famous novel that's like a couple hundred pages long, and you're just imagining it, like fucking visualizing, like, oh my god, it's fucking massive. Holy fucking shit, this is getting intense. And you go into Deathloop, it's like, oh, like a few sentences. Or maybe like a small paragraph of a letter or a sticky note. And you're kind of just like, huh, I feel like I'm missing something here. And maybe that's like one of my like, other complaints besides the gameplay. Like the story is decent. Like the charm for Deathloop is there. I like the banter between Colt and Juliana. The visionaries are kind of interesting. Like the reason behind like the loop, why the loop is started, is kind of there. But still, it feels like there's just some things missing. Maybe it's the lore behind the weapons or some of the technology. Maybe it's because they're not going completely in depth as to how the loop is made or something. Maybe I missed something. Maybe it's because as opposed to like a sprawling station where you can actually explore like every section of the station somewhat, with Deathloop there's like only 4 areas. Technically there's 16 if you go about, like there's a morning, afternoon, evening, and night, but no thank you. That to me that's no, that doesn't count. It's still the same fucking map. It's just, oh, you change the night of day, and some areas may be locked off. It's still technically the same fucking map. It's still the same area. But yeah, that always lingered in the back of my mind for the longest time. It felt like there was something missing in terms of the story. Whether it be, like the whole fact that they explained there was like a whole nother, like, spoilers, that there was another fucking loop that happened before the current one began. And how they just basically, like, oh yeah, hey, apparently there was another loop that happened. And somehow it got shut down or something. Or you shut it down, and now you're going back to Black Reef again. I don't know. It just feels like some of the lore just isn't fully explained, or maybe it's rushed. I can't put a finger on it. Again, it just doesn't feel as expansive or in depth or intriguing, maybe, as opposed to Prey story. Like, I can go through fucking Prey again, and I'd just be like, holy fucking shit, this is fucking beautiful. Everything just fucking works together. It just works. 16 times the story. But I don't know. Hopefully, with this Golden Loop update, maybe they'll add in some extra fucking, lore bits. Because maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's like, with all the fucking computers you could hack in Prey, or all the extra data pads you could find, maybe that was it. Because that's the thing. It's like when I from the other immersive sims I play, I only played like 2 immersive sims. I played Prey and I played Deus Ex: Human Revolution. I should have way more under my belt, but I don't. But those games just had like a very rich amount of lore. Even if it was just a simple emails from hacking the computers. There was like hundreds of fucking computers you could hack in that game with various fucking emails. Not so many computers in Prey, but I mean, there was definitely some shit you could fucking find on those computer terminals or the data packs you could pick up, where the fuck it was in Prey. It felt like there was a lot of lore you could find. In Deathloop, you hack a fucking computer, it's like, oh, there's like one fucking rambling conversation between 2 people, and that's it. Nothing about like deliveries or shit like that. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I just wanted to fucking ramble about that, because maybe some people have that similar complaint. It just, like, again, like, there's a decent story behind Deathloop, but it just boils down to, just trying to break the Groundhog Day shit. Like, yeah, you do learn some things about some of these visionaries, but some of them it's like, it feels one-off-ish. Like, okay, the love story between the one musician chick and the guy that has like a castle or something. I love that little bit of story because it actually has like some shit about them that actually feels, oh fuck, That's pretty fucking deep. That's pretty fucking, fucked up there. But then you go to like the fox or the wolf, like the one visionary that throws a party. There's really nothing about him. Like, oh, he's just a fucking party guy. That's it. And you're kind of just like, what the fuck? Like some of the visionaries just feel hit or miss. Like, oh, apparently like the early guy, Frank, I think, like, okay, you actually have like a friendship with the guy. But then there's like some sort of scientist who's trying to study the loop. Oh, it's like that's it. She's just there to study the loop. There's really nothing like extravagant about her. Okay, there's a guy towards the end, like one of the maps where he just isolated himself because he's like trying to do a loop within a loop, where he's like trying to capture something in a loop, like some sort of like temporal dimension or something. But it's all you really get from it. There's no like extra story behind that. It feels like maybe that's what it is. Maybe I figured it out. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's because of the fact that you find certain things and you would expect there to be like some sort of side story, side mission that would help you like delve deeper into it. Like, okay, what the fuck happened here with this particular thing during the death loop, during the loop? But it just becomes fucking, it becomes unanswered. With Prey, it's like, you're going through the fucking station, you'll discover something. It leads you on a scavenger hunt across the fucking map to, try and get some extra fucking loot or shit. Or, fuck, I'm having trouble fucking explaining it. It feels like the side missions actually delve into like extra story or shit between certain characters and whatnot that help supplement and complement the main story. But with Deathloop, that's really the only story. Like, okay, maybe some of these side stories will help you unlock some extra paths or some extra loot. But there's just some things that don't really get explored on. Like, I am curious, like, what that extra dimension type shit is that one scientist was actually, like, researching into. But nothing happens with it. It just becomes, oh, yep, nope, just fuck it. You're just here to kill that visionary, and that's it. You're here to basically break the loop. That's the main story. It's just to break the loop. No extra story about, studying the fucking Typhon. Nothing about trying to locate some missing survivors or, like, trying to fucking protect them. Nothing like that. It's just strictly break the loop. Or that one story, again, about the fucking previous loop. You read about it in a fucking document, but that's it. There's no extra, like flashbacks or a fucking like video recording. It's one and done. It's like half-assed. It's not like fully developed. It's not fleshed out. There's no extra like side stories that are just as intriguing or on par with the main story. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's my complaint. The side missions just don't feel as in-depth or feel like an actual side quest compared to like the other immersive sims, I guess. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a jumbled mess, which is kind of like what Deathloop is already. You don't know what the fuck's going on in it. But I just wanted to fucking ramble about that for a minute. Throw my fucking feelings about the story of Deathloop out there. Hopefully with a DLC expansion, if there ever is a thing. Even though I don't really feel like spending any more money on the game than I already have. Maybe through the Golden Loop update with this supposed extended story or secrets, or extended ending. Sorry, not story, extended ending and secrets. Maybe that'll help flesh it out. And scratch that fucking immersive sim story itch. Who knows? But I wanted to fucking rant about that, ramble about it. Usual YouTube chant. Ramble Manager's out. Hopefully this doesn't bug me for that much longer. Ciao.